you a student, mentor, or parent that loves robotics? Then you're in the right place. Up-to-date info on all things robotics. This is the Robozone Podcast with your host, Pete Ekman. The Robozone Podcast is brought to you by Kettering University. It's a Kettering-built world.
Hello and welcome to the 36th episode of the Robozone Podcast. This podcast is for Tuesday, October 17th. In this episode, we hear from the last seminar given by the EngiNerds while at Kettering kickoff. So, get ready, get your favorite pop, get your favorite popcorn, and let's get to the episode. Last week's episode, number 35 of the Robozone Podcast, was covering one of the seminars that the EngiNerds gave at Kettering kickoff. Because of the length of that seminar, I wanted to chop it up into two parts. The reason for this is I didn't think you wanted to listen to an hour and 20 minutes at a time. I've been given feedback right around 45 minutes is the perfect length for a podcast. So I'm including part 2 of Team Documents as part of this week's episode. So I hope you enjoy.
The Robozone Podcast is brought to you by AndyMark.com, your robot parts experts.
What's his name?
We order a lot
A
of shirts.
lot
A
of
lot of
shirts.
shirts.
It's ridiculous because we open it up to all of our students, all of our mentors. We order
And-
shirts for all of our partners.
And our logos are universal-ish.
It's strategic the
We
way that
put
it's
things
designed.
on the back and the front so that it's the same screen, and we change the
So like this is
garment.
the front of our, what we call this our Friday shirt. This is what we wear on Fridays usually. This time we're wearing it on Thursdays.
Yep.
And then our hooded sweatshirts, this goes on the back of our hooded sweatshirts.
Goes on
So
the back
it's-
of the mechanic shirt.
And then it goes on the back of the mechanic shirts because Flint City T-shirts charges per screen, not per item. So we now have 3 shirts that have the same screen, so that counts as the whole like reduction based on unit cost.
Yes.
And in EngiNerds, it's efficient in everything we do. So all of these
Can you just tell me again where you get your shirts? I'm sorry, guys.
Flint
City
City T-shirts.
Thank you.
It is downtown Flint across from the Genesee County Courthouse. And they're amazing. If you are a nonprofit organization, they give you a 10% discount. And then it's based on screen quantity. And usually, I think the price break is about 96 shirts is usually, and I think the next price point's like 132, and then there's another like 250 price point break. So I mean, by the time
They'll
we're
go
all
over that
we're all
probably.
said and done, we're probably ordering.
We usually offer up to alumni and parents if they want any shirts.
So we're looking at
Place an order.
50,
And we do it all at the same time,
100, probably close to 500 shirts in our shirt order.
Students, big thing on our team is trading shirts. We trade lots of shirts. It started back in the day, and they do it in a lot of championships. We'll have students that'll order 5 to 6 extra shirts just to trade. So
Yeah.
then it helps our numbers.
Sure. So at the end of every single one of our team contracts is this. When you go onto our team website, the documents that you will see will have all of the bullet points that are the team contract, but this and the spot to sign will be missing from it. The reason for this is so that they must come to us to get the documents. So that mom can't just print them off the internet. Mom can't just print them off the internet, and mom sign them and the student turn them in.
Goes back to that triangle. We want it to come from us to go to them, and there's a full understanding of the topic.
So this part of the document, I have read whatever the name of the document is, of the Grand Blanc High School Robotics Team, and by signing this document, I hereby agree to uphold these expectations so long as I wish to remain a member of this team. I understand that failure to comply with this document can result in my dismissal from the Grand Blanc High School Robotics Team. This is on every single,
And the parent one says that my student can be removed
and
because of the parent's actions. We can actually remove the student.
yep. So we collect these, keep them for our records. I have them in a big giant binder.
So basically, this is what we do in our area, is we try to simulate this to be as close to an athletic team contract. I mean, because this is basically
Sure.
an athletic contract as well.
Mhm.
So just like
And then
Yep.
we incorporate a lot of the ideas of FIRST Robotics
Yeah.
and gracious professionalism and stuff like that. So, well, good morning.
Yeah.
So this was our team member basic conduct guidelines for the EngiNerds in the 2017 season. So you'll see that I like to write. I might write a little too much sometimes, but they can't say they didn't know. So it actually goes into like behavior at team meetings, how they're supposed to act, how they're supposed to treat the property of our facility, behavior at competition, behavior at demonstrations, behavior expectations overall. So this really goes into what we expect of our EngiNerds, and I sincerely hope that when you guys all see EngiNerds that they're living up to this in every aspect of their lives. So our parent expectations, we already talked that. All right. So
We're gonna have these
yes,
up on our website.
those are all up on our website. So one of the big things that I did want to cover with you specifically is our communication expectations. We have 3 ways that we mainly keep in contact with our team, and we expect them, if they are financially able to do this and that they have access to the resources to complete this, that they do. Okay? One is email communications. We use Google Groups for all of our email addresses, for all of our email lists. This is the best thing in the world because people subscribe and unsubscribe themselves. So when Johnny quits the team, you don't get an email from Johnny's mom that said, take me off your email list. And then you gotta go through your email list and take her off. Or you like forget to BCC and then everybody gets everybody's contact information and Sally's mom is really mad. This basically automatically BCCs everything for you. Everybody can subscribe and unsubscribe themselves.
And if you had a situation where someone's on the team and they left the team, they don't have everyone's email because you were sending it out to everyone, and
Yeah.
or partners or whatever.
Yeah. So we kind of use this for like long-term things, lots of information stuff. I'll say primarily our parents are the ones who use email as their main form of communication.
So
we choose to do
parents check their email. But guess what students don't do? Check their email. So we've made a transition from email communication, used to be our main and only communication, to now using what is an application called Slack. So that's on there. Slack has probably blown up in the last 2 years in the first community. I would say there are a ton of teams that have used it, and I've seen teams that use it, and all of a sudden their companies that they work at also start to use it. Slack is, for people that don't know what it is a private chat room service that you can have that can be private and invite only, right? So you can set up public ones. Sorry if I'm going in this for you. There's private and invite only versus public ones. Our team is a private one only. We do daily communications, so right now my students are sending messages of what the measurement of our Auton positions for the field down there, and there's a measurement we do, and they're typing that in. I've received already the message of what those are for the Red and Blue Alliance. So you can see on the side there all the different channels that we have. So we have, the one with locks are private, but the ones with like hashtags on it, section autonomous, pit crew, parents, mentors, Pokemon, because our students play Pokemon Go, and we look at it as we'll give you a place to go talk, but just talk in that area so you don't flood the other channels with Pokemon Go stuff. We also, whenever you do this, you want to ensure that you have a general, which for us, the general is 2337-team. That channel right there is our general team discussion, and you always want to have a random channel. If you set this up, do not delete the random, because you need to have a place where cute cats and other stuff that doesn't matter to go. If you don't give them that spot, guess where it's going to go?
Main chat.
Yeah, main chat. So you can see that we have a lot of stuff, and this goes down with that list goes way further down. This originally started out, reason why we want to do it was scouting. Scouting is our biggest reason for this. We create channels for each event that we go to. We already have one set up for here, Kettering Kickoff 2017. We follow a format where we will say quarter, Q45, so quarter qualification match 45, FRC 2337, flipped over on their back, or they fell from the rope and they didn't climb, right? And we put that in, and we have students that are typing that in and posting it in that channel. If you look at the upper right-hand corner, there's a search bar. So if I type a search of FRC 2337, I get every single note that was made about FRC 2337. Now we use FRC 2337 so that it's a key word that pops up. So if students are like, oh, I really love 2337, they should not use FRC 2337 because we don't want that to pop up in our scouting chat. We can also take pictures of every team, every robot, put that in there. We label the logo, or not the logo, the picture as FRC 2337. So when you do that same search, you will also get the picture and all of their qualitative
So you
data.
can do really qualitative things that your data is not going to do, like Shock and Awesome has a super zippy chassis.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we originally started. So this has changed, and this is day to day. This also keeps a bond within our team where our team is always communicating all the time, and it's always ongoing. And it's not like we have these seasons that go up and down. They're continuously talking.
Like we played a board game, and some of our students, well, it's not a board game, it's a card and dice game technically, but and some of our students and some of our mentors play. So we have a channel that we talk about the new Star Wars Destiny cards or dice that we just got, or the new deck that we're building, and they think it's cool because we're normal people.
And it's free, but
Up to a point.
Up to a point, you get like 10,000 messages or something like that, and then they start deleting the old ones. It's to the point where our team has considered actually adding a fee to be like on the team, and our team fees is adding the fee to cover Slack, because it ends up being, I think, $12 a year per member of the Slack, and we've considered putting that into our budget and paying for the full service because we use it so much.
It's changed our team.
However, we actually have two Slacks. We have a team Slack and we have an Alpha Slack. The Alpha Slack is what we use for people that don't make.
So this is the one that's up there right now at the top is varsity. If you look over here on the left, the one with the alpha there is junior varsity, basically.
Yeah. So everyone is in Alpha. Team members, team members, parents, alumni, VEX members, all that are in Alpha. When we announce the team, we delete old people from the FRC and add the new. We get rid of alumni. We've had situations where team members have left our team to go to other teams, and that's kind of the reason why we created it. Was we needed we wanted our team
we have
chat.
Alumni that are now mentoring other teams.
We wanted our team to be a secure chat, so that if we're talking strategy, and if we're talking about the teams they went to, we don't want to offend them or anything like that, but we want to be able to speak freely.
Or let them see our picture.
Yeah, and we didn't want to also lock everything, so everything's private. So the only way to communicate with the team is you have to get invited to these channels. We want it where you want to join the scouting channel, you join it. Right. It's not private. Yeah. We have a few private ones for like very specific things.
Yeah.
We try to minimize it.
So this is kind of what a Google Drive or a Google Groups email looks like. So at the bottom here you can see you received this message because you subscribed to Google Groups. To unsubscribe, yada yada yada. And at the top you'll notice it just shows the groups that I'm sending it to. It doesn't show anybody's email addresses.
Yeah, we have multiple groups. We have a VEX group, we have a team group, we have an alumni group, we have a pro group. But that's when we started that out a long time ago when we started the team before Slack. So go ahead.
Yeah, and then this also allows you to have, like, say your parents on your robotics team, if they're in charge of a fundraiser, they can write an email and send it to the group, and then I can either approve or reject it. So, like, Ryan's mom is the secretary for the pro, and when she typed up the minutes this month, she sent them to the Google group, and I clicked submit, and it sent it out to the whole team from her email address. So when somebody has a question, they're not emailing me about what clarification in the notes, they're emailing the next.
And the reason we approve everything is that way someone's not using the mail service to advertise their new Young Living oils that they're trying to sell or something. My wife does Young Living, so
anyway. Then we also use Remind.
I didn't mean to do that.
We also use Remind service, which is a text messaging service because
teachers use
sometimes hurricanes happen and you need to cancel a meeting. So
Remind is almost like that instantaneous where we might not have Wi-Fi, we might not have communication with the internet and stuff, and so people will have their cell phones and stuff and will get the messages. So a good example is at the World Championship, if something was to happen, there was a storm and we had to take cover or emergency evacuation, we can send a remind out. It'll let everyone know where to go for evacuation, and it'll let all of our parents at home who are like, holy cow, there's a bad storm in St. Louis and I want to know where my kid is. And they can get the message, we're all safe, we're all under, section whatever of the Georgia Dome, and don't worry about it.
Our bus broke down.
Exactly. And then all the parents get all the messages. We're running late. hey, they all know, and they're like, oh, I can sit and watch,
So if you really want to get EngiNerds
Dancing with the Stars for
so you
31
can text
Great.
at Team 2027 to 81010.
We don't
All
do
right.
our pick list on it, so don't worry.
Emergency contact information is another thing that we have in our contract, that they have to fill out emergency contact information. One thing that we do on our team, which if you're an educator, you'll understand, or maybe you're a parent in this situation, we request, do not require, but we request any student with an IEP or a 504. So an IEP is an individualized education program, and a 504 is a contract with the schools to provide additional resources for students. And we try to accommodate those as much as we can on our team. As an educator, I think that there's nothing more valuable than creating a conducive learning environment for a child. And if there's something that I can do, that I can know about to create that for them, then I'm going to. So we request that kind of information.
One of the best things that we have on here, and it's how we get our partners, is we ask for the parents' place of employment. We add that on so that if we hear someone works at a company, we can say, hey, we don't have them as a partner, would they be interested? It's an engineering firm, that kind of stuff. We try not to solicitate that too much, but we do have that on there for that purpose. If you have questions later, we can also talk more too.
No problem. So one thing that we talk about a lot about with all of our team documents, the presentations that you guys are going to see, our team contracts, any agendas that we make, any information that we want available to our team, we want them to know where to go to find it. It's very important to not be like, well, sometimes we send it out in email, sometimes we put it in Slack, sometimes I send a text message, sometimes it's on the website, sometimes it's not.
You're being paged right now. You're being paged via Slack to come to the stands for training.
For training?
Teach Marty how to be human gliders.
Sorry, are they doing mentor matches? At
8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
I
So
guess I'm not doing anything in it.
I've
Not in
showed
the
you.
first 2 matches, you 2 are signed up to see our dive team.
Okay,
Oh,
At
thanks.
least that's what we decided as a team.
okay.
So,
Okay.
So the
Okay.
first two, so
You
gotta
realize last time I was behind the controls with the robot, I
Okay.
broke it. That was
Hey,
in 2008,
focus.
and I've not been allowed to do that.
Brandi,
Just so you're aware.
That's
it's
fine,
been
that's
10
fine.
years.
Go ahead.
All right, so you can go to team2337.com/team-hub, team-hub, and you too can see our calendar. If you are interested in seeing any of the FRC team documents that we discussed earlier,
No, just
you can go right here to FRC team documents right here.
you made fun of that earlier.
If you're interested in seeing any of our VEX team documents, which don't involve our parent contract, it's really a lot easier, like smaller documents. If you're looking for a good base to start with, you can go to VEX team documents here. If you really would like to get the EngiNerds email so you can see what kind of stuff we're sending out, you can subscribe here. If you want to see all of our parent documents, all of our fundraising stuff, you can go here. If you want to subscribe to the EngiNerds calendar, you can subscribe to the calendar here. Otherwise, you can see all of our events here. Everything is all in one spot.
So we developed the team hub so that it's one place to go. If you need it, you go to the team hub. It should be somewhere on that page.
So if you click on FRC team documents, you're going to see this page, and all of those team documents are right here in link form. So all the ones that you guys are looking for, they're going to be right here. If you want to see some of the forms that we use for Google Forms, we do our team shirt order in a Google form. We contact all of our parent and our student contact information form in Google Forms. Our meal sign up for our schedule for the meal that teams have to provide, that's in a Google Sheets document. Students who need to fill out the TIMS stuff, that's all on here. Basically everything is on our team hub for you. Okay. And I guess the takeaway from this is organization is about perfection. Yeah.
Quick question. Do your mentors pay their own way, or do you guys fund that for the mentors?
We cover the jerseys and uniforms for our mentors. Our mentors have to pay for hotel, travel, food, and everything.
They eat with the team.
The
So
reason,
when the team provides, like families provide their
Yeah.
meals, we ask them to
so
provide.
they're a part of that food. So if the food's provided, they don't have to pay for that food, obviously. If they go to a place where a restaurant where the team's paying for the students, the mentors have to pay for their own food. So it's kind of some weird situations. The reason we did that, we want The best way to say is we want mentors who want to mentor because they want to mentor, not because they want a free meal and travel cost covered, right?
And we don't want to have to worry about who's a mentor and who's not a mentor, right?
To where we're paying for someone because they got in early and they're considering we're paying their meals, and the other guy who came late, who isn't really that, but doesn't get his meals paid, but he's coming every week since then, like, it just, we felt that it alleviated. Our mentors are extremely giving, and most times, if we tried to pay for their food and travel, they'd be like, no, you're not paying for it. And so we decided to not force that effort.
And our mentors, so like us, going back from our team started, we've always paid our own way since the very beginning. Because we said we would rather give the team the $300 that it's going to cost for us to be at a hotel for a weekend. I'd rather have the team get a new set of wrenches or something else.
And at the same time, to be blunt and honest, we always have an out. If someone was to come to me and complain about how much it costs, I could be like, I've been doing this for 10 years paying this money out of my own pocket. You have nothing, you can't say anything about it. I've always paid my own. No one has paid for me. And it's never happened, but I have that out where I can say, I pay for my hotel, I spend my family's money to go down and my family's vacation time and stuff to go to St. Louis, and we take our kid who it costs money to bring him to. We do that out of our own pocket. So, anyways.
So I'm not claiming I'm perfect, and I'm not claiming the way that the EngiNerds do things is the way that you guys should do them, or is the best way to do things, because it's probably not the best way, because I guarantee you next year we'll iterate. And we'll make the way that we do things better, because that's who we are. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing, because you might not always be the best, but you can be the best at doing what you do. You can be the best mentors for your students. You can have your students be the best that they've ever been. You can have your parents help you run the best organization. It's up to you to do it. It's not going to happen on its own. You have to help. You have to want it. You can do it.
I have another question of a lot, but I'll just ask one more. Your mandatory volunteering, you guys.
We do not have mandatory volunteering.
For First of Michigan, right? For First of Michigan.
Well, like on your fundraisers and that, they're not. There's nothing.
The only fundraiser that is mandatory is our can drive that we have the Saturday after states. The reason it's mandatory is because we make anywhere from $7 to $8 grand on one Saturday doing a pop can drive.
Yes.
It is systematic. We are very systematic about how we do it, and it's mandatory because otherwise the students won't get the money from it. So it's really the students that are mandatory, but the parents come out and stuff.
Including the donations that we received.
Yeah.
Our can drive for us to attend the championship this year, we made $8,700 in one day.
Are you guys a 501c3?
No, we use the schools.
Through Grand Blanc Michigan.
We use the school's nonprofit status. So we try to make things not mandatory, and like fundraisers. If you don't want to raise money, that's fine. You just got to pay the check to pay for your fees.
So fundraisers go directly into the student account.
Yeah.
Aside from the can drive, that goes
We've
to
talked
pay off
about
our
taking
giant bills
cuts
for the
and stuff.
nationals.
So
We just don't make it mandatory. I mean, I can't force somebody to sell Little Caesars Pizza Kids or whatever else.
at the same time, the people
But
that
there
want
are
to
some
be there.
families who need to sell
Yep.
to afford to be on the team, and we offer them that opportunity. So we don't have mandatory volunteer hours for our team. We don't have mandatory fundraising for our team. We do not have mandatory study hours. We do not have much mandatory
The other
anything.
side of that is you structured it though that whatever you sell goes towards your kid.
Yeah, for all of our for most of our fundraisers. Like I said, they know if it's an individual fundraiser or if it's a fundraiser for the whole team. Most are individual. We do Little Caesars pizza kits. We're doing bed sheet sales this year. We've done cookies in the past. Trying to think of our other ones.
Chocolate bars that build miserably.
Yeah, so like
Wrapping paper,
all the
never
individual
miserable.
things where you got to do your own point of sales type stuff or the sales stuff. It's to the student. We tickets for Tiger tickets through MMRA raffle tickets we were doing. It's like whatever student sells it, because we still want to manage with it and be like, well, I put an hour in and I get the same amount, and the other guy that put in 12 hours, so like, wait a minute, I'm only getting a small cut of this and I put 12 hours in. So the easiest way to do that is you get what you put into it, so that we don't have to deal with that. Any questions?
That's me. 3 emails.
There's a lot of stuff, but
So that was the final piece of the seminars that the EngiNerds, and I want to thank Brandi Bollinger and Clinton Bollinger from 2337 for giving those seminars at Kettering Kickoff a couple months ago. As you can tell, there's a lot of information. Please listen to all 3 of those episodes. The last 3 episodes for the Robozone podcast goes through all the seminars that they gave. They weren't paid to be there. They gave it on their own accord. They're just trying to help out other teams, such as my own new team, get educated and do things and figure out things for themselves. Personally, one of the key subjects that was given by Clinton Bollinger in this episode was the use of Slack. Slack is an amazing application, messaging platform that all teams should be using at this point. If you have a team that's trying to figure out how they're going to manage all your social media contacts, manage all of your pictures that are taken at an event, communicate at an event, communicate while kids are in school, communicate in general to parents, kids, family members. Slack is a great application to use for that type of situation. Maybe in the future we'll do an episode of Slack. We'll get some people on here if people have used Slack on their teams, and maybe that is one really good tool that you can implement in your team this year. I want to thank you for listening to the 36th episode of the Robozone podcast. This podcast was for Tuesday, October 17th. We will look forward to hearing from you on social media, as well as please leave us a review on Apple iTunes. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.
The Robozone podcast is brought to you by Kettering University. It's a Kettering-built world. Thanks for listening to the Robozone podcast with your host, Pete Ekman. Find us online at robozonetv.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.